I just grew up here from Boca, and boy, are my arms tired. Where was Moses when the lights went out in the dark? The old man looked up at me and said, "You're Jewish? You know, looky, Julie. Just walk in backwards and they'll think you're leaving." Thanks for calling. Thanks for answering. Sorry I wasn't able to make it here for this prestigious event. I am waiting with bated breath to see the video. I'm not sure what everyone else is planning to say regarding Old Nemo, but I wanted to make sure I'm able to get my 2 cents in. I have known this great man my entire life. In spite of having to endure untold repetitions of the same jokes, I knew from an early age that I was blessed to have him as my father. Countless happy memories of childhood come to mind, hiking up the hill behind our house together, playing hop on pop, sometimes when he wanted to and sometimes when he didn't, playing basketball, baseball, watching sports, taking awesome vacations, gardening, and what all fathers and sons do together, cook. We also shared the huge undertaking of building an addition to our house. Wait, that wasn't me, that was Henry. But to this day, Dad swears that when he fell off the roof, I pushed him. How could I push him when I was in bed sleeping? Like most kids growing up, I had my favorite sports idols, movie stars and pop stars. I hung posters on my walls, read articles in magazines, and went to see them play or perform. But as I've grown older and much wiser, I've come to realize that those stars were often failed people with no real substance. Certainly not anyone for a child to admire. All along, I had the best role model and star right at home. Dad, you really were a great figure to look up to. You know, looky, Julie. Dad, I hate to admit it, but the aforementioned jokes are now part of my repertoire and are annoying my children. I sing strange songs all day and make up my own lyrics. I am drawn to complicated and messy recipes. I have no hair. I have become quite the handyman, and I am building an addition to my house. Just kidding. Now my kids play hop on pop with me. Sometimes when I want to, sometimes when I don't. I know to put my family first. Shabbat dinners are routine. I shoot baskets with the kids whenever I get a chance. And I buy lots of beer food for all the neighborhood beer in Boca. I have so much to thank you for, Dad, except my height. Why is it that your firstborn is the shortest kid in the family? I guess I should just be happy with all the brains and good looks. Speaking of good looks, remember when we were at one of your UNC reunions, the point guard was telling a story about you. He made me stand up and he said, "Kid, look at your dad. That's what you're going to look like when you get older." And he was right. I may be a tad biased, but I think you did a great job raising me. I hope I succeed in doing the same with my kids, and that your legacy lives on through me and through them. For everything, Dad, thank you, and I love you. Okay, that's my turn. On behalf of my family, it is my honor to talk about our dad. Actually, it is only because Meryl couldn't make it, and if you were to have seen the evil eyes I got when I suggested any of the women in our family come to public speaking, we will just say it is my honor to stand before you. I'm not going to tell you about all the things that you probably already know about my dad, which everybody already could get some of you again experience. Besides basketball, Carolina, he played lacrosse. Long-time Major basketball coach. The weight room that many of you use downstairs was built by Dad. Navy during the war, was a scout for the New Orleans Jazz. Gold medals. Minnesota Brook. Other celebrities: Hot Rod Hundley, Jerry West, Andy Griffith, Jack Palance, Wood Williams, and Dean Smith. Distance run. Was a general manager for the pro basketball team, the Gunners. Taught students the game of basketball in Chile. motion picture, and so on and so on. What I am going to tell you about is what you may not know about him. According to Caden and Sean, Zadie is big like a giant. Actually he is, both literally at 6'6", but figuratively as our family hero. Hero is defined by a man of distinguished courage or ability, admired for his brave deeds and noble qualities, regarded as a model or ideal. Almost considered a superhero. While trying to impress us, he once tried to fly from the roof of the garage. Or at least that's what Meryl's been telling me my whole life, and I guess the other letter said that maybe it was him. But I'm in the synagogue, and he's not here to defend himself, so it was Meryl that pushed you. He is a role model on how to treat your family and others. Although my last birthday card in March said to our favorite son, and at the end of the birthday dinner title letter he asked for it back, said he needed it again in June. He taught me how to do things that often do not result in any extrinsic rewards. Just doing the right thing no matter what. I learned from he and Mom how important it is to attend our athletic games, ceremonies, special events, even in our adult life. When someone has a concern or problem, he will aggressively attempt to solve that problem or provide the resources to you. Through his mail sorting business, Post Haste, he tried to employ students that were in great need of a job, even stepping in and taking on the role of a father when there were no fathers around. When you tell him you are sick or not feeling well, he brings you a magazine to read and food from Maine Farm. You say you have to go to the ER and he shows up in his size 15 slippers with no socks in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. You're thinking about changing your career. He says, call Ron, he knows me. And you can call him, and he does know Nemo, and you have a job. You rely on him. He does what he says he's going to do. I looked up to him as a child. I still do. What I learned from him is how to be loyal to my family and friends and to the community in which I live. I have modeled my life after his. He is a hero. He's our family's hero. Thank you.
How I look to him. Nemo, I have a flag for you. Before I do that, bring this down a little bit. Nemo, the Urenti family literally has always looked up to you. I'm the tallest one of my family, as you know, so I have the least strain on my neck throughout the year. However, as you've heard, it's really not hard, not difficult to look up to you. Nemo, you are and remain one of the pillars of our synagogue, our city. You're a person who is loved, you're respected by our community, as you've heard this evening. In Charleston, everywhere I go, I think it was Don that mentioned it, it's true, someone will ask me, does Nemo Nearman go to your congregation? Or your church is what they'll say. And they ask it with such affection, because you are the person they so identify with all that's good and kind to the Jewish community. And I always proudly respond in the affirmative joy because of the great reputation and greatness that you have given to our congregation and to our community. Your grandparents may have founded our synagogue long ago, but you bring glory to it by the way you continue to bring glory to the Nearman name. In our synagogue, your name has been synonymous with service, quiet devotion. From your willingness to lend a hand whenever something needs to be done, you don't talk, you immediately volunteer and you enlist yourself for everything. To your leadership in the Company Kadisha, the Men's Club, your faithful devotion to Minion. Yesterday, we had a gentleman that was here, was coming today from Cleveland, and I made the announcement because we were struggling the last couple of days getting a Minion in the morning. And Nemo was here yesterday. And of course, when I said we needed a Minion, who was the person that made sure he's going to be here today? And that was Nemo. He always does it, doesn't ask for anything. He just comes and does things. You did not rise above the ordinary on the reputation of your great family name. You elevated that already great name. As tall as you are, you proudly stand on the shoulders of your family and continue to add to the spirit of our synagogue. Nemo, you stand tall for all those who need help, who need assistance, who are suffering. Down through the years, you've come to me, always to speak to. I'm always scared. I don't know what it's about. It's never about you. It's always about someone you've heard in the community that you didn't know if I knew about, if there's anything we can do at the synagogue for. You always find time to bend your ear to be, as Henry said, a caring husband, father, brother, grandfather, friend, and bow low to hear the concerns of others. You truly are a good man. Your height allows you to look down on people. But Nemo, you never look down on people. You love people, and you're always there for us. About the only thing I know about basketball, and a little quote from Isaiah Thomas. He has a great quote. He says, if all I'm remembered for is being a good basketball player, then I've done a bad job with the rest of my life. Now, you will always be recognized by your connection to basketball. But I want you to know that you are recognized, you're revered, and you're honored for so much more. That's not who you are. You will be remembered for basketball, but you will also be remembered always for the way you've touched our lives down through the years. Your good work, your kind heart, your thoughtfulness, and all you've done for this community. We are so proud to call you our friend. I am proud to know you as a loyal son of B'nai Jacob Synagogue. Julius and Libby Nearman are very proud of you. Now I have the following plaque I'd like to present to you, and if you'd like to say a few words. They told everyone to keep it to 2 to 3 minutes. And now I know why people don't go to services on Saturday. Because they ask me how long services are, and I say it's about 2 to 3 hours. So by that property, 2 to 3 minutes ends up being about an hour and 15 minutes. People think services must be about 12 hours. Nemo, if you come forward. The plaque that we present to you tonight says, the B'nai Jacob Men's Club presents to Sherman Nemo Nearman, Man of the Year Award for his years of devotion and support to B'nai Jacob Synagogue and the Jewish community, April 25th, 2012, Jewish star on one side, and a basketball and a net right on the other side. I know. That's for me then.
After I passed out the scripts to each one of you, I asked you to keep it to 3 minutes, but I guess I wrote down too much. I want to thank all of you for coming. You're very patient. You've been here a long time, so I'll try to keep my words to a minimum. I do have to tell a joke or two. I guess I'll have to explain the jokes. The one joke, the family joke, when I was in the Navy, my ship pulled into Shanghai, and it was Passover, and several of us were allowed to get off the ship. We went to a Seder at a Jewish den's house. I had transposed that story to say that I was allowed to go off the ship to go to services at the only synagogue in Shanghai. And Rob, my fellow Navy man there, I walked in, the service had already started. Everybody was Chinese. I was the only non-Chinese person there. You heard this, kid. And so they were nodding, and then as I was noticed in the congregation, the nodding began to get quieter and quieter, and suddenly it was total silence, and everyone was looking at me, and so this one venerable gentleman walked over and he said, "You Joey?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Joyce." He said, "No looky, Joyce." Family joking. I'll have to Al Pfister is familiar with this one, and I have to tell him because some of my jokes over pretty good and others do not, but this was, we had this group called the Al Pfister Salubrity Club, and surprisingly enough, not many people know what the meaning of the word salubrity is. But it was a close-knit organization. We used to run at Langley Field, and then as our knees and backs got worse, we shifted to walking. Governor Underwood, one of Al's patients, and also became a member of the Salubrity Club. And as we walked, we would tell stories and jokes. And Cecil had a reputation of, and of course, Tom knew Cecil very well. They're both Republicans. All the jokes that I had, I told there, were secondhand because Paul Howard would feed them to me, and then I'd feed them to our group that was walking. And one day I told this one, and Cecil loved it and used it. I'll tell as quickly as I can, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but the story goes that Bill Clinton was walking along the beach, and a bottle floated up the shore, and Bill picked it up, and the genie came out and says, "You have 2 wishes. And Bill said, he said, during my tenure as president, he says, the one thing that I couldn't get accomplished and wanted to was to get peace in the Mideast. He says, much as I could do, everything I tried to do, it just didn't happen. And he brought out a map and showed it to the genie and said, these are the countries around here that I tried to get peace in the Mideast. And the genie says, they've been fighting there for 5,000 years. You're not going to get peace there. What's your other wish? And Bill says, well, my wife Hillary, and this is years ago, I understand, not very popular, not really the best looking in the country, and just, and here's her picture, is there just anything that you can do? And the genie looked at the picture, and he turned to Bill Clinton and he says, let me see that map again. Cecil Underwood loved that joke. 2 weeks later, we spoke in Fairmont and told that joke. And believe it or not, at his funeral at the United Methodist Church, his grandson stood up there and talked about, everyone knew that Governor Underwood loved to tell jokes. And he told that joke to Governor. I could laugh when I heard that. I have several, one of the things that I did do the synagogue for some years, I coached some of the youth basketball teams. 2 of my members are here, Mr. Rubin and Mr. Bloom played for me, and they both were excellent players. We won a couple titles, I believe, didn't we? And Rick knew where the basket was. Didn't always find it. Duke was I told Duke, I said, I want you to get that ball. I don't want anybody to get the rebound but you. And for 3 years I coached him. nobody got that ball to Duke Bloom, I can assure you that. They're both excellent players, and it was a joy to hear.
It was the Elvis team, huh?
Oh, you had good Elvis, Luke.
Hey, Rick, he's trying to be nice to you.
I was flabbergasted when I walked in, and suddenly as I looked around, there were friends and family who came in, and when Polly walked in, then I knew that there was something afoot, and that was the first that I realized that there was going to be something for me. And I'm flattered for this. I remember several members who received this. Sam Wyland, the late Sam Wyland, who everybody loved, received this Man of the Year. Pardon me, last year it was Mary Basketball and
Al Peck.
Al Peck last year, yes. So it's indeed a distinguished honor for me to stand up here and have this plaque, and I'll cherish it. It puts me in the line of a lot of great men who served the synagogue well. I'm flattered that some of my basketball friends are here, and normally we get together at other places. We go to dinner a lot, and I was glad that they came because most of them pay $12 to get in and eat dinner. And usually when we get together and eat, when the check comes, everybody gets up and goes to the bathroom. I've enjoyed that camaraderie very much. But I need to say, and I don't want to keep you, you've all been very patient, that you mentioned my dedication to the synagogue. It's inborn. I'm the third generation at this synagogue, and of course Henry now is the fourth, and the two kids are now the fifth generation of Nearmans that serve the synagogue. And it's a wonderful synagogue. I apologize that I don't get to services as much as I should anymore. It's my knees and my hip hurt because we stand up so much. Seems like every 5 minutes, Steve Max is saying, stand up on page 43. But it's an important part of my life, and for everyone here who grew up in this synagogue or came to this synagogue, it should be an important part of your life. We're Jewish, and that's what we do. We come to the synagogue, and we pray, we participate in the various functions here, and it should be an integral part of every one of our lives. Certainly part of mine. My kids grew up here. They were all bar mitzvahed here. I think part of the foundation of their lives is the result of growing up in the B'nai Jeshurun synagogue. I'm forever grateful that I've been a member here all my life, even though I've lived probably half of my life in other cities, other countries, but I always came back to Charleston, always came back to synagogue. I couldn't get credit anywhere else. But it's important for me to stand up there and say to you that, and this is nothing original, the most important thing that you can have in your life is your family. And I've been blessed with a wonderful wife, wonderful children, wonderful relatives. Cindy Lipinski, who's now asleep. I'll tell them all about it later. And you learn that. You learn that growing up, whether it's the church you go to or the synagogue that you belong to. Family comes first. And family has always come first for me. Loved my wife for 46 years now. My children as they grew up. we always had a good time, and we enjoyed it. I enjoyed the friendship of everyone at the synagogue, even though sometimes they didn't speak to me. I enjoyed my affiliation with my basketball friends who are not just basketball friends, but true friends. And I'd like to single everyone out here, but I can't go in, there's not much time. I appreciate this honor. I thank the synagogue for it. I will continue to come to services as long as I can right now. And you'll forgive me if I don't stand up every time Steve Mack says stand up. I will be here and I will serve however and wherever you want. I want to thank you all for coming. I consider all of you friends of mine, and I hope that you continue to look at me as a friend. And if I owe you any money, I'll see you the first of the month.